Today we will start I'm Dr. Patil, and today I will take the class on blood cells. You should know blood is an important component of our body, right? So we have blood everywhere, right from top to bottom, from toe to head, everywhere there is presence of blood. So blood is a very important component of our body. So any cut, scratch, anything happens, blood oozes out, right? So, and blood forms the source of nutrition to all parts of the body. So there are different types of cells which we should know. So 1 to 2 I will complete the lecture, and at 2 o'clock for half an hour we will take the lab session. I will tell you about individual blood cells. So this is the slide. What is important here is you will learn many important things. So blood is considered as a specialized connective tissue. It is formed of three elements: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So red blood cells are called erythrocytes. Everyone knows white blood cells are called leukocytes, and platelets is called thrombocytes. So these elements are suspended in fluid component known as plasma. So the chapter what we are taking is the uh, blood. So in blood we have different cells, and we have main three types: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So red are called erythrocytes, white are called leukocytes, and platelets are called thrombocytes. And these are floating, suspended in fluid component known as plasma. So all these components are present in plasma. So you should know about these cells. These cells are very important. Lifelong, you should have an idea about it. So once you centrifuge the blood, anticoagulated blood, formed elements settle in the bottom of the tube. So here, yes, it is the most important part of the body. So here you will have red blood cells are present as precipitate, red precipitate when you centrifuge. It consists of 45%. Then white blood cells and platelets you will see less than 1%. Last is plasma. In the body, the blood, what we see in the body, these red blood cells are within the plasma. So once you centrifuge this blood, so you will see first at the basement red blood cells, then white blood cells, platelets, and then plasma you will see. So and it is in a different percentage, and plasma forms 55%, right? So this is so I think whoever is typing, I think you will take the class, and I will not sit and listen to you. If you want to show your smartness, no, show in an exam, not here. Okay, so these are the components of the blood, and formed blood elements are there are three different elements: red blood cells, white blood cells, and blood platelets. I have told you. So these are also called as formed blood elements. So we may ask in exam which are the formed elements of the blood. So you should tell these names. So red blood cells. So first, let us start with the red blood cells. These are also called as erythrocytes. So you should know the names, right? So the other name of red blood cells are erythrocytes. So you should know the names. And these are biconcave discs. Biconcave discs means they are on both sides. There is a concavity. Right? So see here also there is concavity, and here also there is concavity. So both sides there is by concave disc, and the diameter is 7.5 micrometer in diameter. and 2 micrometer thick at its rim and less than 1 micrometer at its center. So these are the dimensions you should know. At least you should know what is the size of a red blood cells. First, it is biconcave and 7.5 micrometer in diameter, 2 in thickness, and 1 micrometer in center. Why in center? Because of the concavity. The concavity is there in the center, so it will be definitely thin. So these are the red blood cells which you should know. And RBCs have a average lifespan of 120 days, right? And then they are destroyed and removed from circulation by macrophages in the spleen and bone marrow. So red blood cells an average lifespan of 120 days. So we may ask in exam, what is the lifespan of RBC? It is 120 days. And they are destroyed and removed from the circulation by macrophages, spleen and bone marrow. So this is the bone and this is the bone marrow. And these are the formed blood cells. Next is normal number of red blood cells. So you should know the number. So the number of days it survives is 120 days, but the number is 4.5 to 6 million cells per cubic mm in adult male and 4 to 5.5 million. So these numbers you should know because they may ask in exam. What is the normal count of males? What is the normal count in female? And decrease in the blood of RBCs is called as anemia. So sometimes the red blood cells will decrease in the number in the person. Increase in the number of RBCs is called polycythemia. So we can ask in your MCQ paper. What is the decrease in number of RBC is called anemia and increase in number is polycythemia. There are different types of anemias also. Right? So, megaloblastic anemia, iron deficiency anemia, like that. There are different types of anemia in the body, and many people, right from their childhood, like sickle cell anemia. So, right from their childhood until death, they will suffer because these cells may become sickle shaped, right? And then uh, it is sickle in shape, and they are usually sickle shaped, and therefore the once the cells are sickle shaped, so the person faces lot of problem in their lifetime. Light microscope. So you see this picture, blood picture in light microscope. Light microscope means in a normal binocular microscope, what you see is called light microscope. So in stained blood smear, red blood cells have deep pink color with a central pale area that occupies about 1/3 of its diameter. So once you put this blood on a slide, glass slide, and once you see under the microscope, what you will see is pink color, have deep pink color, and in the see the surrounding will be deep pink color, but in the center there will be pale area, but 1/3 of its diameter it will be pale. So such features you will see in a normal light microscope. Scanning electron microscope means it is the ultrastructure. If you want to go still deeper and study, so RBC have plasma lemma that surrounds cytoplasm with its hemoglobin. So uh, if you will see only in high power view. High power means scanning electron microscope. You see the ultrastructure of the cells. You have the plasma lemma that surrounds cytoplasm with its hemoglobin. So this is the picture what you see in ultrastructure of the cell. And sometimes there are abnormal shape of red blood cells. So these are called spherocytes. They are biconvex. So if you see the black color arrow here, these are the normal disc-shaped cells. But here you see biconvex appearance of the cells. This one, and this one. So these have convex appearance. So these are called spherocytes. So these are the abnormal shape of the cells. So these are called spherocytes. So this is the red blood cells you can see, right? So these black arrows, what they are pointing at, biconvex or spherocytes. And sometimes these RBC cells, red blood cells, are also oval in shape. So if you see, these cells are oval in shape. So here you see oval shaped cells are also seen in red blood cells are oval also in shape. So there are the different abnormal shape of these cells. And sometimes you have poikilocytes. Poikilocytes means the cells have pear-shaped cells. So this arrow, what you see here, here you see the black arrow, what you see, these are pear-shaped cells. So these are called poikilocytes. So different type of cells you see in the microscope. Then there is just a minute, my boy. Where did it go? Just a minute. Some problem in the system. So, pear-shaped cells are called poikilocytes. You will see, right? So, you should know the different shapes of the cells. So, that was all about red blood cells. Now, there is something called white blood cells, right? So, these are called leukocytes. So, what are leukocytes? Leukocytes have nuclei and are colorless in the fresh state, so are named white. So why leukocytes are white in color? Some people ask. So these are called white blood cells. Why they are called white blood cells? Because they have nuclei and are colorless in the fresh state. So they are named white. And the lifespan of white blood cells ranges from 13 to 21, 13 to 20 days. As of erythrocytes was 120 days. So this is 13 to 120 days, after which they are destroyed in the lymphatic system. So after 20 days, they are almost destroyed. And there is a range. Whenever you talk, it's better to talk in range. A normal count is 4,000 to 11,000 per microliter of blood. So this is the normal count what you see, right, of the white blood cells. So you should know the lifespan. You should know the normal range, that is 4,000 to 11,000 ml per microliter. So leukocytes do not function within the bloodstream, but what they do is they use it as a means of traveling from one region of the body to another. So they go from one region of the body to other, right? So leave the bloodstream by between the endothelial cells of the blood vessels. So when they migrate from the endothelial cells are the cells bordering the blood vessels. So these are the endothelial cells. Okay, so these are the endothelial cells, and the migration of the cells, right? Leave the bloodstream by migrating between the endothelial cells. So this is called diapedesis. Enter the connective tissue spaces and perform their function. And they are spherical in bloodstream and polymorphic in the tissue. So they are spherical in the bloodstream, and polymorphic means different shapes they have in the tissue. So these leukocytes, they do not function in the bloodstream, they come out of the bloodstream. So they coming out, the process coming out of these white blood cells are called, is called diapedices. So you should know what is diapedices, and they are spherical in the blood, but when they come out, they become polymorphic in the tissue. So this you should know. So that is called diapedices. So white blood cells are classified into two groups. There is something called granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes means they have granules within the cells, right? These are called granulocytes. Agranulocyte is they lack the specific granules and they include lymphocytes and monocytes. So lymphocytes and monocytes are called agranulocytes. So we may ask in exam, in the granulocyte cells, the following are the granulocyte cells, that we may frame the question. So the granulocytes are neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils. Agranulocytes are monocytes, and lymphocytes are the granulocytes, right? And these granulocytes are differentiated according to the color of their specific granules. So there are different color of the granules, and they are stained by Bromowski stain. Bromowski stain is used to stain these granulocytes, and granulocytes don't have any granules. Okay, so this is the picture of granulocytes and agranulocytes and how they look into in the blood. So in more detail, I will tell you how they usually look. And both granulocytes and agranulocytes possess non-specific granules not known to be lysosomes. So they possess non-specific granule called azurophilic granules. So these what you are seeing are called the red pointed arrow. What you are seeing is azurophilic granules, right? So these both granulocytes and agranulocytes have these azurophilic granules. Now first let us talk about neutrophils. Neutrophils are the neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils are the acute inflammatory cells. That means whenever there is infection or inflammation, they come into picture in the first 48 hours, right? So neutrophils constitute 60 to 70% of total leukocytes, and they are 10 to 12 micrometer in diameter. So 60 to 70% means maximum number of leukocytes are composed of neutrophils, and a segmented nucleus. Segmented nucleus means they have lobes, 2 to 5 lobes. They have interconnected by fine chromatin thread. So 2 to 5 lobes are there, and they have fine chromatin thread. The chromatin of nucleus is deeply stained, and nucleus is not seen here. Right? This is a classic picture of neutrophils. So we may ask in your other OSPE exam also. We may point to arrow and ask which type of cell this is. So these are deeply stained, and 2 to 5 lobes. You have to remember the lobes because neutrophils are the cells which have 2 to 5 lobes. Next is number of lobes of the neutrophils increase in age of the cells. With the as the cells age, so the number of lobes also increase. And in stained blood smear, cytoplasm contains two types of specific and azurophilic granules. Neutrophils phagocytes and destroys bacteria by using contents of the various granules. So, what is the function of the neutrophils? Is to phagocytose and destroy the bacteria. So, they are involved, and neutrophil is one of the most common acute inflammatory cells. And the number of lobes increase with age of the cells, right? So this you should know. Neutrophils are the acute inflammatory cells. Next is eosinophil. So the lobes are important here. Neutrophils have 2 to 5 lobes. But here eosinophil is bilobed. So 2 lobes you see. The red color arrow, what you are seeing here are 2 lobes, and these eosinophils are 10 to 14 micrometer in diameter, and they are bilobed. And cytoplasm contains pink specific granules. So this is the cytoplasm. This yellow color arrow what you see are the deep pink specific granules. When are these neutrophils increases? They are eosinophils are increased in parasitic infection or any hypersensitive infections or reactions, these neutrophils will increase. And you have to remember, this is bilobed. Eosinophil had 2 to 5 lobes, multi-lobed it is, and eosinophils are bi, and they increase in parasitic infection. But this is also an acute inflammatory cell. Next is basophil. Basophil could less than 1% of total leukocytes. They are 10 to 12 micrometer in diameter. Nucleus is divided into irregular lobes and usually S-shaped. So, if they ask in basophil, what is the shape of the nucleus? Usually S in shape. You know the letter word S is S color, S in shape, frequently masked by large specific granules. So, you will have a lot of big granules. So, sometimes the nucleus is masked. You cannot clearly see the S shape, right? But so these granules are few in number, but they are very large and they contain heparin and histamine, right? So these are two very important, and these stain dark blue with Giemsa stain, right? And they stain metachromatically with toluidine blue and appear purple in color, and they stain dark blue with Giemsa stain. So to stain basophils, you have to use toluidine blue or Giemsa stain, right? So it is usually the nucleus here, you have to remember, is S shaped, but the nucleus you cannot see clearly because there are few big large granules you will see in this basophil, and basophil is often acute inflammatory cells. Next is lymphocytes. Lymphocytes make the main bulk of lymph nodes, spleen, thymus, and the diffuse lymphoid tissue. So we may ask in exam, where do you find lymphocytes? And they are morphologically similar but differ in their surface markers, right? So and can be differentiated only using immunocytochemical methods. So lymphocytes can be divided into B lymphocytes, T lymphocytes. So these are the two main lymphocytes which you see, B and T, which are used. So T cell nowadays, if you see in many therapies, maybe antiviral therapy or anti-cancer therapy. So you will see a lot of T cell therapy coming into the market. So it is T cells are mostly used in immunotherapy. Again, maybe in cancer, maybe viral, protozoal, bacterial. So T cells play a major role, right? So T cells and B cells you have to remember. And lymphocytes constitute 20 to 25% of total leukocytes. So after eosinophils, any cell which is more in number is lymphocytes only. They present in blood and lymph. So they enter the tissue. Okay. So they are present in blood, lymph, and they enter the tissue. And majority of peripheral blood lymphocytes are small, with a diameter of 8 to 10 micrometers. So lymphocytes are small and large. Lymphocytes, sometimes medium also are found, but usually we talk about small and large lymphocytes. Small lymphocytes are small spherical or slightly indented nucleus that occupies most of the cells. So small lymphocyte, you see the small lymphocyte, the cytoplasm will be very less, but the nucleus will be big within the small lymphocyte, and the nucleus will be indented. The nucleus is dense with dark staining condensed chromatin. So that is why the nucleus will be dense. And nucleus is surrounded by thin rim of basophilic cytoplasm. So you will see thin rim of basophilic cytoplasm. Here also you see the nucleus which occupies the major component of the cell, and then there is a thin rim of basophilic cytoplasm. So that is about lymphocytes. Next is monocytes. Monocytes are the largest of white blood cells, measuring 12 to 18 micrometer in diameter. Means their size is big. These monocytes, and they constitute 3 to 8% of total lymphocytes. Yeah, cytoplasm is bluish gray. See the cytoplasm here, it is bluish gray and has fine azurophilic granules. So you will see fine azurophilic granules, and it is bluish gray. Nucleus is large, eccentric, and kidney shaped. So if we can ask in exam, monocyte, the type of nucleus present in monocyte is kidney shaped nucleus you see in monocytes. And monocytes originate in the bone marrow, circulate in the blood for a few days, then migrate through the endothelium of capillaries and venules into the connective tissue, where they differentiate into macrophages. So monocyte will differentiate macrophage when suppose there is an infection. Whenever there is an infection, first acute inflammatory cells, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils come into picture. Then slowly chronic inflammatory cells like monocytes, macrophages, plasma cells, all these cells come into picture. So suppose the infection is still persisting, like long-standing infection like tuberculosis, leprosy, right? Granulomatous infections. So what will happen is this: these monocytes or macrophages, they come together and they form big multinucleated cells called giant cells. Right? Suppose there is a war. What they do is all soldiers will join together. Here also, whenever there is a long-standing infection, right? So monocytes and macrophages will join together and form a big cell called giant cell. So, but monocytes originate in the bone marrow, they circulate in the blood for a few days. Then, to the endothelium of capillaries and venules, they get into the connective tissue. Once they get into the connective tissue, they differentiate into tissue macrophages. As long as the cells are in the blood, they are monocytes. Once they get into the tissue, it will convert into macrophages. So we have done research these monocytes and macrophages what by using gingival clavicular fluid of parodontium. So we have done the good research and we are going to publish, right? So you should also have the research mindset. I want you all in future or in second no doubt, but as you go into fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, you can definitely do good research, especially who are knowledgeable. You should spend time doing research. And you can see most of my articles are published in PubMed. You go to pubmed.gov and you put my name, Dr. Shankar Patil. So you will get lot of articles. Near more than 250 articles are published in day. Why? Because we have a research mindset, and because of my research mindset and publications, the countries USA, Europe are inviting me to join their institutes. Like that, you can build your career. So either you become a good doctor or clinician, or you become a teacher, that is an educator, or you can become a researcher, or you can become all three also. It depends on you. Next is platelets. Platelets are also called as thrombocytes, right? So platelets are also very important component. So we finished white blood cells and red blood cells. Now we are coming into platelets. The number of platelets range from 250,000 to 400,000 per mm cube. So platelets are very important. Now where they are checked nowadays, there is dengue, right? You know, dengue is caused by mosquitoes. There suddenly there is drop of platelets, right? Below 50,000, sometimes 10,000, 20,000 platelets will start falling down. So, first people did not know the treatment. Now slowly people are getting treated and they identify that person has dengue and all because the platelet count drops and the treatment is given to increase the platelet count. So the lifespan is less than 14 days. Platelets are small biconvex disc-like non-nucleated cell fragments about 2 to 4 micrometer in diameter. So they are small biconvex. Right? RBC is biconcave, this is biconvex, disc-like. These are also disc-like. Non-nucleated cell fragment about 2 to 4 micrometer in diameter. So platelets arise in the bone marrow by fragmentation of cytoplasm of megakaryocytes. So hemopoietic stem cells are there. So these blood cells arise from stem cells. These stem cells they form pro-megakaryocyte, then megakaryocyte, and then platelets. This is the process. You have a rough idea, right? That how the platelets are formed, and they are formed in the bone marrow by fragmentation of cytoplasm of megakaryocytes. So stem cells are very important nowadays because lot of many people are working on stem cell therapy, cell replacement therapy. We are working on so that tomorrow we can give treatment for the cancer, maybe virus, bacteria, so many treatments you can devise by these stem cells. Next is stained blood film. They show pale, how you can see under microscope. In stained blood film, they show pale blue peripheral zone called hyalomere and a central darker region containing purple granules called granulomere. So Pale blue is there for these are the red color arrow. What you are seeing here, these are the platelets, right? So they show blue peripheral zone. So here you see the pale blue peripheral zone called hyalomere, right? The green color arrow is hyalomere. The central darker region, containing purple granules are called granulomere. So these are the uh, platelets, the component of the platelet. So you will see the platelet in the red color arrow. You see such platelets are seen in the blood picture, and the parts. What are the parts you see in the plate? Then what is next is hemopoiesis, right? So the chapter is about blood and its cells and hemopoiesis. Now hemopoiesis is the process of blood cell formation. The blood cells are formed. So the ultimate objective of hemopoiesis is to maintain a constant level of the different cell types found in the peripheral blood. So hemopoiesis, we may ask in exam, what is hemopoiesis? Hemopoiesis means the process of blood cell formation. Why it should form? Because hemopoiesis maintains the constant levels of different cell types in the peripheral blood. The constant maintenance has to be there, because if something falls down, like lymphocytes, if it falls down, because the T cells, B cells play in innate immunity, humoral immunity, they play a role. If they go down, then your immunity goes down. If your immunity goes down, then a lot of infections you will start getting, like HIV or AIDS. Where your immunity goes down, then a lot of infections come into your body. So the hemopoiesis means it maintains the constant number. And blood cell formation begins 2 weeks after conception in mesoderm of the yolk sac. So whenever there is conception, right? So after 2 weeks, it starts forming. So that is called the mesoblast. The blood cells start forming. By the 6th week of gestation, liver starts hemopoiesis, right? That is called hepatitis. Then the spleen starts to share this process, splenic phase, and both hepatic and splenic phase continue until the end of gestation. So after 2 weeks only, it will start forming. By 6th week, hepatic phase, liver starts hemophasis, that is hepatic phase, and then there is spleen starts to share this process, that is called splenic phase. So there are different phases in hemopoiesis, and hemopoiesis begins in the bone marrow phase at about the 5th month of gestation. So in the bone marrow, in the myeloid phase, the hemopoiesis starts in the 5th month of gestation. You should know how and where the blood cells are forming. So there is mesoblastic phase, and there is myeloid phase, then there is splenic phase and hepatic phase. So mesoblastic phase in the yolk sac, first it forms in the immediately after 2 weeks, and hepatic phase forms, then splenic phase forms, and then the myeloid phase. So this is the way it goes, the process of forming. So if you, at least you should know the names. Mesoblastic, you may ask, the process of hemopoiesis consists of the following phases except. So 4 right answers will give and 1 wrong answer. So mesoblastic, hepatic, splenic, and myeloid except. So 1 wrong answer we will give you. After birth, bone marrow is the principal site of hemopoiesis. So once the child is born, bone marrow is the principal site of hemopoiesis. And bone marrow is found in medulla of long bones and in the cavities of cancellous bones. 2 types of bone marrow are present, red and yellow marrow. So this is the red marrow, red arrow, and yellow bone marrow, depicted by yellow bone marrow. So there are 2 types of bone marrow, what you will see. And bone marrow is composed of stroma, blood sinusoids, cords of blood forming. If you know the name, it's more than enough. We don't expect more from second years. And stroma of bone marrow consists of network of reticular cells, reticular fibers, fibroblasts. So there's bone marrow, which consists of stroma, blood sinusoids, and cords of blood forming cells. But the stroma consists of reticular cells, reticular fibers, and fibroblasts. And sometimes fat cells are also present. So these are the this all things present in bone marrow. So there is red bone marrow, adipocytes, blood sinusoids. These are parts of the marrow. Stem cells, a group of master cells from which blood cells are created are called stem cells. Stem cells are very important, especially stem cells are used in cancer therapy, blood cancer. Suppose a person is suffering from blood cancer. Now there is one company in Europe called Novartis. So they have developed a therapy called CAR T cell therapy for blood cancer patients. It's a very, very costly treatment, but still who are rich people are using where they can cure the blood cancer. So their stem cells will play a major role in treatment. Next, there is pluripotent stem cells, different type of stem cells you should know. We may ask in exam. The following are the different type of hematopoietic stem cells except. So you should know the right names: pluripotent stem cells, multipotential hematopoietic stem cells, progenitor cells, and precursor cells. You should know the names. If you know the names of hematopoietic stem cells, that is more than enough. Then pluripotent stem cells. They constitute about 0.1% of the nucleated cells of the marrow and are morphologically similar to small lymphocytes. They look like small lymphocytes and they are the nucleated cells of the marrow. These are called pluripotential stem cells. Multi-potential hematopoietic stem cells, there are two types: myeloid multipotential stem cells and lymphoid multipotential stem cells. Know the names. My request, just know the name. There are two types: multipotent hematopoietic stem cells, right? So myeloid and lymphoid. Lymphoid will form small lymphocytes, B lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, natural killers. Myeloid will form megakaryocytes, erythrocytes, mast cells, myeloblasts. So this flow chart, you can know it is good. Otherwise, at least you should know the names. There are two types of multipotential hematopoietic stem cells. And progenitor cells. So progenitor cells are common myeloid progenitor and common lymphoid progenitor, and from there the different types of cells are found: megakaryocytes, erythrocyte, mast cells. So these are progenitor cells. And precursor cells. These arise from progenitor cells and have no capacity for self-renewal. Right? So they arise from progenitor and they don't have any capacity. They will not renew on their own. And in bone marrow, they are first recognizable cells of a particular cell line. They divide and differentiate to give rise to mature cells. So the stem cell will give to lymphoid progenitor, myeloid progenitor, and then they give mature cells, and they don't have self-renewal capacity. These precursor cells. And normal erythropoiesis, right? Already I have told you it consists of hematopoietic pluripotential stem cell, reticulocytes, and iron is required, right? So iron is some people suffer from iron deficiency, so that is why it is called iron deficiency anemia. So erythropoiesis of cell series. So stem cell is committed cell of proerythroblast, then phase 1, pre-erythroblast, late erythroblast, normoblast, reticulocyte or erythrocyte. So this is for your knowledge, you should know what are the process of erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis means synthesis of red blood cells. So from stem cells, we go up till here. So in our laboratory, where I am doing research, we have found special type of cells called quasi-equilibrium cells. So quasi-equilibrium cells come before the stem cells. So in the world, no one has these type of cells called quasi-equilibrium cells, which we have found out in our lab. And with these quasi-equilibrium cells, we were able to produce any type of stem cell which we want, which we can use in therapeutic purposes. So that is quasi-equilibrium cells. So it is not there even in the textbook. Such type of cell we have. And with quasi-equilibrium cells, you can produce any type of stem cell you want by adding the growth factors. Next, reticulocytes are immature RBCs that are recently released from bone marrow. So what are reticulocytes means? Immature RBCs that are just released from bone marrow. Right? Those are called reticulocytes. Bone marrow, and they are just released into the blood vessel. Reticulocytes contain ribosomal RNA and can be stained with supravital stain. with brilliant crescent blue and appears granules and net structures. So reticulocytes you can stain with to provide a stain and contains granules and net-like structures. So here you will see red color arrow, granules and net-like structures, and they are slightly larger than mature RBCs because they are just beginning to form. They just come from the bone marrow, so slightly bigger in size. Reticulocytes. Reticulocytes are present in the circulation of normal subjects in a number of less than 2% of RBCs. They are also present in normal circulation. Increase in reticulocyte count indicates increase in the rate of erythrocyte production by bone marrow. Sometimes reticulocytes may be present more than 2% also. These are the reticulocytes, what you see. Okay, blue color, what you are seeing, these are the reticulocytes which are present in the blood. They are bigger in size than the erythrocytes. Granulopoiesis cell series, myeloblast, promyelocyte, myelocyte, metamyelocyte, band neutrophil, and segmented neutrophil. These are called granulopoiesis, means synthesis of granulocyte cells. Like neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils are granulocytes. Granulocytes are monocytes, macrophages, these are all the granulocyte cells. So granulopoiesis is how the neutrophil is formed, how the granulocytes are formed. So just if you know the names, it is good enough. Monopoiesis means synthesis of monocytes. Monoblast, then promonocyte, monocyte. Lymphopoiesis means lymphocytes are formed through the following stage. Colony forming unit lymphocyte occurs in bone marrow. In bone marrow, your colony forming unit CFU, LYB, and you will have CFU, LY T cells, and these undergo mitosis forming immuno incompetent T lymphocytes. These cells migrate to the cortex of the thymus where they proliferate, mature, and begin to express cell surface markers and become immunocompetent. So, how the cells from being non-immune immune incompetent to immune competent. Immune competent means they will be able to fight the infection. So, they are immune competent. So, first colony forming unit B cells occur in bone marrow. So B cells from where they occur, if they ask you, you should tell bone marrow. B cells undergo mitosis and first by forming immune incompetent T lymphocyte. Then they migrate to the cortex of the thymus. Thymus is present in the center of the neck where they proliferate, mature, and they become immune competent. Immune competent T lymphocytes are very much important. Why? Because nowadays, now suppose viral infection has come now, COVID-19. Now, there are people who are dying, there are people who are having very mild symptoms, there are people who are having moderate symptoms, there people are having severe symptoms, and some people are dying also. Some people are recovering even after being severe. Why? Because of their immune competency. That is why you have to boost immunity. How you boost it? Having more of vitamin C and zinc. So, these are the components you should have so that your immunity stays good, and you should eat healthy food, right? Good fruits, good vegetables you should have, and you should stop eating these junk foods, burger, finger chips, and all those things you have to stop, and you should have healthy food. Then your immune system builds up, right? So, and immunity is very important. It may be in cancer, it may be it may be in infections, bacterial, viral. Why? Because nowadays immunology, if anyone wants to do masters or PhD, you have to think of immunology or immunobiology. If you are interested in that, then you can really develop good cell-based therapies which will help the patients and which will help the mankind. Right? Just reading, mugging, and knowing is not important. You should get into applications. Right? Your knowledge should help the public. That is very, very important. And lymphocytes are formed through the following stages. Hemocytoblast, then lymphoid stem cell, lymphoblast, pro-lymphocyte, and lymphocyte. This is the process of how lymphocyte is formed. It is called lymphopoiesis. There are different poiesis. Thrombopoiesis means synthesis of platelets. Hematocytoblast, megakaryocyte, and platelets. So these are the events. These are called thrombopoiesis. But what I am expecting from you from second years is you should know what are the components of the blood, right? Formed elements, plasma, and informed elements, erythrocytes, leukocytes, platelets, and how they look, and in white blood cells, which are the different types of cells: neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, lymphocytes. These are the cells which you should know, which we are going to ask in exam, right? So that much if you know. So blood cells, hemolysis or hematopoiesis. This is very, very important chapter. Why? Blood is present entire your body, right? And many people suffer from blood-related disorders. Many people suffer from blood cancer, right? So the more and read for knowledge, not to gain marks. You should be knowledgeable, because tomorrow the patients you should be able to treat the patients properly. You cannot tell this is not there in the syllabus. This has not been taught. You cannot tell. You are going to become a professional doctor. You have chosen to become professional. So that is very, very important in today's day, right? So, after 10 minutes, I will take the lab session. So you should be there. I will teach you about just in half an hour. I will teach you of how the cells look, right? So this is what I am trying to tell you, and I would one more thing try to tell you is this is my PubMed profile. Okay, anyone wants to view my profile, you can view this. So I have done for last 10 years. I have been very much active in research and publication. Right. So this will be my last year here in Saudi Arabia. So next year I'll move either to Europe or to USA. Right. So this will be the last year. By April or May, I will leave from here. Okay. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. And after 10 minutes, we will meet for the lab session. Thank you so much.